Mic check, 1 2 1 2. It's Georgette.
And I'm Bravo Snap. Yeah.
And I don't even have my shit up. And welcome to Black and Nuance Podcast, dispelling the ideas that all black people are monoliths because we're not. We bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuance, powered by Excitement Radio. Snappity snap, what's good, man?
Good, man. We just coming off of Valentine's
Yep,
Day,
no, we're going to talk about that later. Don't you start.
Okay.
Don't you? Yep, because I actually had it for this, but I was like, no, we're going to talk about that at the end and all of the things because I got some things to say to you.
Okay.
After listening to that episode three motherfucking times, I said we got to have an intervention. Mm-hmm. So the next episode we do is an intervention with Snap on air with a professional expert. So that's going to be interesting. But no, Snap, so let me tell you a couple of great things that have been going on with me.
Okay.
So, we didn't have an episode last week. Snap's moved into his new house.
Yes.
Or it's still moving. Still moving. Last week, I was in TV production, so my old team came down from New York, and they were doing some shoots, some film shooting in Miami, and so they always hire me when they come down, and so that's good freelance money. But I was working with them last week, Monday through Thursday, and I'm still wrapping some things out for them. Friday, I got picked, or I got confirmed to be a moderator for a panel in New Orleans.
Nice.
So it's called Power Rising, a dope collective of black women. Definitely put it on your radar to go. Power Rising. It's going to be, I think, in South Carolina next year. I told my friend who was helping produce the event, please sign me up. And so went to New Orleans Friday afternoon, flew back in town Saturday to host my organization's event. It was the South Broward Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We had our Red Shoe Luncheon. That chapter had their 10th anniversary of the Red Shoe Luncheon. I hosted it. I was the MC. Big Man Kelly, who's big down here in, his name is big down here in South Florida Market. He used to be on Hot 105. He was my co-host. He graciously obliged. And we had a good time, Snap. And then I crashed. Like, I was supposed to roll out the bed Saturday night to go hang out with the sorors and the Bros. And they had, like, the Bros were doing a different chapter, like, alumni chapter of the Bros was doing a Mardi Gras. They call it a Coup de Gras.
Okay.
And Snap, I was laying in my bra and my panties. I couldn't go anywhere. I literally couldn't even keep my eyes open. I was that tired from the whole entire week. But I was like, thank you, God, I made it through. I had my first experience with Spirit Airlines. I have to shout out. Yeah, because, people talk shit about Spirit, right? And so, but you know what? The one thing I had to say to anybody was, you have to go in, and because I couldn't afford Snap to not be on time for this event on Saturday.
Okay.
I was on the first flight out. I was futzing with the app because Spirit, the reason why their ticket prices are so low is they charge you for every little thing. Carry on, snacklets, drinks. I mean, every little thing they charge you for. So I was like, oh, they're not going to get me. My homie hooked me up with a Netflix Samsonite travel bag. It's Samsonite, but it has the Netflix logo on it. And that was my bag. Like, that was my personal item. So I was futzing while I was waiting to board the plane. And I had 19E, which was a middle seat. And then I saw a row that said $0 Snap. So I was like, okay, great. I'm going to click on it. And that means I can bump up more. And when the lady was like, those are handicap seats, I was like, oh, okay. She was like, well, your seat's gone now. So I didn't like what I gauged was like they were like futzing with putting me in a different seat. Okay. And so I felt like they had printed out the boarding pass and then they picked it up and crumpled it up. And they were like, no, to themselves. So part of me felt like they gave me a good seat that was something that I would have had to pay for on my own.
Right.
They put me in the back of the motherfucking plane.
Yeah.
And so at first I felt some sort of way, right? So then but I was like the second one to board, like the seconds on the board. So I'm dancing in the back. I was like, you know what, God, as long as I'm on this plane and I get back to Fort Lauderdale safely, I'm good. So I come in the back of the plane and the flight attendant, shout out to Rachel and media. Rachel was like, you're happy. I was like, you know what? I've never been in the back of a plane before. And she was like, no, we're cool. You'll be fine. I had the whole both sides to myself. Cutting up with them. Cutting up. This lady lost her bag. She thought this plane was going to stay for her bag. Like, no, that's not how this works. Like, once the doors close, security-wise, Snap, the plane has to take off.
Right.
So this lady, we didn't leave for like 20 minutes, up and down, looking for her bag. And I told the lady, I was like, does she think this plane is not going to leave because her bag, she can't find her bag? Because this is not a thing. Yeah. And no shade to her, but it's like whatever, you just got to be mindful of those types of things. So nonetheless, the lady was like, do you need anything? Like they were looking at me for me. Like they asked me if I wanted any snacks on them. And I was just like, no, I'm good. I just was trying to catch some sleep because I knew I had to go straight to the venue.
There we go.
And so but beyond joking, the lowrider seats and the baby tables on Spirit Airlines, my experience because of those two ladies, Rachel and Media, was amazing, man. So I can't tell you I'm going to always pick Spirit Airlines as my first choice, but they had the itinerary I needed to fly back. So that was my week. Snap.
All right, maybe not on the bus, but the back of the planes was pretty much like if I'm correct, was like the safest place to be on planes. Like,
was
you know,
it?
if anything, I think the safest.
And they only have one bathroom. You know how there's two bathrooms.
One in the front and then one in the back.
And they usually have three, right? One in the front, two in the back. No, one in the back. Right.
You had a little line by you at one
No.
point?
No. It wasn't because my flight was the first flight. I was 5:30 in the morning.
There you go.
So people trying to sleep, and so I was trying to sleep. The seats were uncomfy, but like I said, they made my experience wonderful. It was actually hilarious, and so I had shouted them out on my Sunday shift, and one of the girls, not the two flight attendants that helped me, but one of their coworkers heard me. She tweeted me, and then the other lady hit me up on DM. She's like, Georgette, I heard that you shouted us out. Let me know how we can help you on a bigger platform. I was like, that is so sweet. And so I'm going to definitely connect with her. And she said, I'm going to tell them to look out for you next time you fly with us. I was like, absolutely. Listen, I'm all about that, right? I'm all about that. Whatever you put out there, Snap, comes back. And I literally I didn't have a shitty attitude getting on Spirit Airlines. And that helped.
Right.
I could have. After they put me in the back of the motherfucking plane.
Right.
But I was okay with that. So, anywho, yeah, man. So that was it for me. I'm assuming you just been moving back and forth.
I've been moving box after box. I mean, just sweating, and then the whole man. How many square feet? It's maybe like almost 7,000 square feet. So literally, I have a front yard that from the front door to the actual curb, I'm gonna say is about 40 feet, and then behind the house, I got another 30 feet of land going towards the next neighbor's house, and then another 60 some odd feet this way, lengthwise.
Yeah.
A lot of the backyard is unleveled, so I'm trying to level. I'm trying to plant seed. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to mow. I'm trying to do all this stuff so that, again, in this move process, I don't want to be the oddball on the block. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to have my lawn not shaved, or should I say cut? Talk about shaved lawn. But, so I'm trying to not only get in, move in, unpack, set up. I still got to have the outside looking right.
Yeah.
So that's been a challenge. I've been picking up and buying stuff. I've been at Home Depot almost every other day. If it ain't for like screens, everything is new. It's like
it's a house. You are the owner, or she is the owner, and you all have to start from scratch.
I'm buying new shelving. I'm putting up shelves and stuff like that. Trying to find out if there's leaks in it. I'm trying to find out how I could get a sprinkler system to literally take care of the front and the backyards without me having to stand out there with a hose, so
old school style.
It's been a long, and then to top it off, I guess the craziness of it all, I just been losing myself. I've been losing my days. I don't know when I'm supposed to work. I'm my regular job. I don't know. So a lot of things has been going on, but it's been good. It's a good stress. I looked in the mirror the other day. I'm like, do I got 3 gray chin hairs? Man, this is something stressing me out, and I don't know what's going on. But I like everything about this new move. But, the crazy thing about it is we still have to, the place that we were renting, our lease doesn't end until March 31st. So literally, it's not like I had a U-Haul. I've been doing the broke man's move. I've been literally just using my truck to get the stuff back and forth. So again, it's a long process, but I'm not rushing to do it. It's like, I move a little here, then rest. Then I move a little here. Then I got to do the backyard. Then I move a little here, then rest. Do a little here, do the front yard. So, but it's a great process. It's a great thing. It's a good feeling.
Okay.
It's good to stop paying rent and to, start paying an actual mortgage, something that you own. And what I didn't know is that you're not really considered officially in the middle class until you own a home or something like that. I was unaware of that. I didn't know about that.
I just feel like people be making stuff up.
That's what I be feeling, right? But
I thought, see, I've never heard that, so I can't even, I don't want to speak on it, but yes, That's interesting.
It's like that's how people see you as, okay, you know, because you have property.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
the
it's
thing
like,
is, property is also still debt, even though it's, considered good
Absolutely.
debt. You could still, you could
Oh,
sell
no.
it and make this money. But what if you're sitting on, millions of dollars and you still want to rent? That
Right.
doesn't,
And that's
so
another
it's
thing,
just,
too,
it's
right.
a choice. If you want to own, there's people that are scraping just to own and they're house rich, cash poor.
There you go.
So,
And that's what I don't want to be.
right.
You know.
So, what you also don't want to be is Jussie Smollett in this whole situation going on. And so, listen, we're not going to get into particulars. We're not reporting on this. This is just us giving our opinion because by tomorrow or the next day or the time this comes out, something else can come out. But just in a whole nutshell, Jussie Smollett, actor from Empire and singer, went from victim to suspect in the alleged hate crime that he said happened to him in Chicago. The two Nigerian-American brothers that were brought in as potential suspects said that Jussie actually, staged the attack. And at first there was this whole thing where he paid them, but later reportedly came out that the check that he paid them for $3,500 was actually for training, fitness training. The other thing that came up, and I just typed this in Snap, so the links aren't in there. I just kind of wanted to riff on it real quick and then jump into opinions. So we're recording this on a Monday. They said, Terrence Howard apparently had a meltdown, or reportedly had a meltdown on the Empire set, confronting Jussie, and telling him to come clean. Some of the cast and crew actually didn't feel like his story added up, and he had refused to come out of his. They're saying Terrence had reportedly refused to come out of his trailer for most of the day, and so because the producers also, again, this is all alleged, because the producers didn't really believe his story is the potential reason, air quotes, that they can't see, why they wrote him out of the last two episodes for this upcoming season finale. And I'm so behind on Empire. It's becoming hard to watch just because it's so over the top. I don't know. Anywho, I'm gonna still finish it out because I started it. But he had addressed the cast and crew Thursday night, this past Thursday, or last week Thursday night. And so, but Terrence Howard still supports him, and he's in support of him. And right now, DeBrat is also in support of him. I was listening to Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Until he says it, to be honest, I'm still rocking. I'm still rocking because we're so quick to throw people away. We're so quick to cancel people. We're so quick to judge. But the people that have a lot to say, the most to say, and I've gotten caught up in this too, are also the ones that have things that they're covering up or hiding, or they've done shit that nobody wants, that they wouldn't want to be called out for, and all that other stuff. And so, what are your thoughts, man, from the beginning and from the first time you heard it up until like the new stuff that's been coming out?
So I'm following the story, but what threw me off, and I'm quick to question something, like, when I think something is kind of off a little bit, I quit. So day one, my heart was like, it went out to this young man. And I'm like, man,
you can't believe that it happened. Yeah, you're not thinking about it. You're not asking.
At the end of the day, crime is crime. But when you take it to hate crime, it's like, you think, because I'm like, usually when you talk about hate crime, it's usually towards either a black or brown person. You rarely talk about, a hate crime against a Caucasian or, So, I just wanted to start there. And so that's what I started questioning, right? So I'm like, okay, man, that's messed up. And, then they started talking about his neighborhood. And then, reports were coming out like, no, he kind of lives in like a, I don't want to say, what is it like? I don't want to say a gay neighborhood, but there are residents there,
Basically, probably a nice neighborhood, I'm assuming, where stuff like that wouldn't happen.
But then,
like that type of crime wouldn't happen.
And then they said
allegedly.
Not only that, but there are African Americans in that community as well. So now I'm starting to hear that, right? And then we hear that it was two guys and they did this. They put the news on.
I thought it was white people. It's so funny. Like
immediately,
yeah,
right?
You thought it was,
you screaming MAGA, you throwing stuff on me, and then you
have
put the
your
noose,
own vision.
and then the noose.
Yeah,
so
you have your own vision.
Immediately when I thought of the noose, I'm like, oh, it just sent me into somewhere different, because the history. This is Black History Month, right? And you like thinking, like, damn, think about all those people who hung from trees, all the, think of the Emmett Tills and things like that. And that all comes back when you think of the noose. That is such a strong, to me, like, like I said, my niggas, friends, they call me niggas all the time, what up, nigga, my nigga, so it's like, I don't got damn near, I don't know, I don't want to say it doesn't offend me, because at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's a use of endearment, but at the end of the day, it's just something, you can be that nigga or you can be that nigga, you know what I mean? So But at the end of the day, when I heard the news, I automatically was like, damn, that's some real white shit right there. But then it came out, we may have 2 suspects, involved with it. And when I saw the picture, the still picture of the 2 people that they were looking into, I knew immediately those were black dudes. And so something about it said question mark, question mark, question mark. And then I left it alone because I'm like, all right, I do see at some of the Trump rallies a couple of signs, 1 or 2 black dudes that'll be like blacks for Trump and that craziness. And so there's a possibility. Maybe it was some African American who felt, you know what, it is MAGA country. But again, to attack each other like that. But I know in our community, we're good for attacking even family members if they're living an alternative lifestyle. Was quick to attack, was quick to, I was watching something on TV and a young man was murdered, right? He was living an alternate lifestyle. And at the end of the day, so the cop is asking the parents and the sister, did you know he was? And then they like, yeah, we knew, but we didn't discuss it, kind of sort of thing. And so again, like then everything else comes out. All right, well, at the time of the thing, he was on the phone with so-and-so. And so they heard it all and all of this other stuff. And then the next part comes up. Well, I think he used his credit card to pay for this and pay for. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did he use his credit card to buy mask in the
Well, I just think so Debrat, when she was saying it on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show last week, she was like, Chicago police has never been that quick to solve a crime. Like, they're never that quick to solve a crime.
And that's another thing, too.
Right? Like, there's murders that happen.
Yeah.
So something doesn't.
There. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just reserved. I'm not going to place judgment because, like I said, it was a lot of energy that I gave when that first came out, because I felt like it was like, yeah.
But then he also like went on national television
and talked about. But his whole thing was, I wanted everybody to know I fought back. But I'm like, I need to know more than just you fought back. It's like
I didn't even watch the interview. I didn't. Yeah. I just remember it being a headline.
But the one with Robin Roberts.
Yeah, that was
there we go.
Yeah, I didn't. It was with Robin. I didn't know who it was with.
Yeah, and so again, I scanned through it, and I was just like, just saying, I want to feel for you. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it just felt like something was off.
So which side are you on? It's the only reason why I say it's hard to play neutral is because you either believe him or you don't.
And that's the problem, because again, day 1, I was with him. Yeah. Day 5, I'm like, wait a minute.
We're not on day 5 or day 1 anymore.
You know what I mean? Now we around day 20 and day 15, and I'm like, wait, there's still some. Wait, arrested? Arrested now.
He turned himself in.
We're not talking about, because again, they were looking for him for a couple of days. They like, we just want to ask him some more questions, and he was refusing. And then the whole at first. You remember when they talked about the phone, he refused to give up his phone? Now, I wouldn't have gave up my phone either as a celebrity. As a regular dude, here, take my shit. I mean, worst you're going to see is porn pictures or something like that. But at the end of the day, if you're a celebrity.
I still wouldn't even give up my phone.
But if you're a celebrity and you got personal pics, that potentially has can just be out in the public and blah, blah, blah. Now you're getting extorted for photos or whatever it may be. So I probably would have, did that same thing and said, nah, y'all can check my records. I can give y'all my phone company.
Record. Yeah.
But I'm not giving y'all my personal phone. It's just too much in here. But again, they said, yo, come talk to us, man. We need to speak to you again. And when he was refusing, you don't refuse the cops unless you, and even if you slightly suspected of something, if you know in your heart you were totally 100% innocent, you're going to go because you got nothing to lose.
And he went.
He went and was arrested.
He turned himself in? No, he turned himself in.
Because they were looking for him. When he turned himself in, they was like, yo, we officially are about to press charges for you filing a false report. We done spoke to these 2 dudes and their lawyer. And what they said is, they gave me a timeline from day 1 to the day it happened.
Right, but the issue is, wasn't there the whole mix-up of they said they got paid for it, but it came out that the check was for something else. So did they not lie? You understand what I'm saying?
And that's why I'm confused.
But I remember reading something where they said, well, the brothers never said that the check went towards anything related to the alleged stage attack. That's what I'm saying. It's just a little funky.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you don't believe him.
And you know what? Here we go. We have a problem of
You're
making
pandering
people
again.
guilty before they're
You're
innocent.
pandering again.
I'm
Snap.
going to say I believe him.
Okay.
I'm going to say I believe him. But the evidence is just so strong and damning. It's like, listen, I'm hoping these two Nigerian dudes were lying. I hope. Because, again, at the end of the day, they did catch them on the way to a flight or they were returning from somewhere. I forgot. I think they were about to get on a flight and go head out somewhere before they actually got yoked up. Like,
okay.
Yeah,
so
there we go. So, and that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, they were trying to run away from something. But at the end of the day, they know this guy. They got enough information to say, nah, this is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I know he was arrested. I don't think they were arrested.
He turned himself in. I'm trying to think what the guys. Didn't they get arrested? The brothers.
I know that they went down to now once they cleared up the names from the picture. That's when they voluntarily went down and told the story. But when they went down, this is another thing too. When you guilty, right? How many times you just go in with a straight lawyer? I don't know nobody who shows up at the precinct with a lawyer.
Yeah, but this is high caliber now. You're talking about a celebrity involved.
I know.
Yeah, so Snap's verdict is he believes him until.
Yeah, like I just need a little more. I just need a little more to come out. Or convince me. Throw me back on the side
but
to where.
So let me I want to end it off with this. The issue is that we were talking about this. Was it at the Power Rising conference? And I forgot who else I was talking to. That Jussie Smollett. The Jussie Smollett story was in the same news cycle as the white nationalist or white supremacist that was in the Navy that had a shit ton of guns ready, or was it guns or bombs or
it was
explosive?
A lot. It was a lot.
Ready to blow, ready
now,
to
is
do.
Is this the same gentleman who said he was going to try and kill every last person on Earth if he could?
Let me see.
I think it was the same gentleman, but right. So again, and that's why I say, you remember time and time again when we talk on this podcast, I talk about how the media plays a serious role in how we're seen as a people, and media can control what we see as people, as listeners, as viewers. And so you could have showed me that guy. He should have been the first story. When you saw the collection of guns displayed and things that he had displayed, but no, you wanted to know who they wanted to put as the first story? The so-called lying black man was going to be that. That's going to be the cover story. This is what we want to see. But then again, though, when you talk about his connection with the LGBTQ community and the impact that when he said all of this racist stuff came out of these guys' mouth towards him, it wasn't just like, it was personal. You know what I mean?
So to your point, yes, it was actually U.S. Coast Guard officer wanted to kill Democrats, TV hosts, just everyone on Earth, says prosecutors, according to. Yeah, so it wasn't. So let me just quickly read this. This is in the same news cycle. It says Christopher Paul Hassan was arrested February 15th on drug and gun charges, but prosecutors said in the detention memo this week that he intended to murder innocent civilians on a scale rarely seen in this country.
We talking about more than the Las Vegas shooter who shot out the window, from that hotel and injured 40, 50, 60 people or something like that in that shooting at the concert thing. This is the type of stuff. And how many times you see us involved in stuff like this? But this, I don't want to say this is a mental illness thing.
No, he's been in that. Listen, it's saying that he was dreaming of a way to kill almost every last person on the earth.
Come on, man.
This was a draft I found on his computer. He was following the manifesto of Anders Breivik, the white supremacist Norwegian terrorist who shot and killed 77 people in 2011. It also says that he, in another letter he found to himself that was found on his computer, it says, I am a longtime white nationalist, having been a skinhead 30 plus years ago before my time in the military. So the military, you understand, what's the vetting process for these people? And so they always want to kind of be soft when they talk about these things. But Jussie Smollett was the main story that everyone was covering, but you could have been dead the next day because of this man that wanted to kill everybody on Earth. It's just... It's so stupid. He was trying to find vaccines and different things. I mean,
could you imagine? And I think that's the next type of war. Not just, bombs. I'm talking about, you can fly something over an area, spraying it like aerosol spray. And next thing you know, you got 1 million people infected on some craziness or something, like some airborne disease or something that nobody has a cure to. And then we won't find a cure for another 20, 30 years.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So, yeah, it's scary. But that's what I'm talking about. They would rather report on a so-called lying black man than a white man who's ready to take out millions.
Because it's their own.
Millions. And this is
just like you.
This is fresh off of a young man last year who went into a school, Stoneman Douglas High School, and just opened fire on her. And
they allegedly allowed him to register to vote in jail. It was some dumb.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, not
stuff.
one shot fired. Not one shot fired to catch that young man.
Yep.
Not one shot.
So,
but yet, we watched on the news that one black dude who was on the expressway with a knife, and he was nowhere near the cops, but they wanted him to drop that knife. And because he didn't drop that knife, they shot him about 15, 16 times. Now, everybody else got off, but the actual cop that shot him, I think now is being charged with something.
Yeah, because a knife.
And when I say he was and all he was doing was just trying to get away from the situation.
You could just shoot him once to defuse
you
it.
You don't have to shoot. You could have tased him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely.
So I mean, it's so many, but things like that. I mean, my man selling cigarettes outside of the Lucy's. You lose your life. You get choked out for a cigarette because I mean, things like that. And you got people like this, like who was willing to take out hundreds of people at one time. And the guy in the hotel, he eventually killed himself. But still, we're treated so differently. The man who was in the Mandalay Hotel shooting out the window at that concert goers. And it was just, come on, man. And the signs are there. But for some people, we see them. For others, we act like we blinded to them.
Right. Moving along, before we get into all of the things, I just want to quickly highlight something that rings true to me. So New York City has a ban. Is going to ban discrimination based on hair. You probably as a man haven't dealt with that before, Snap. But men or even women, black and brown people that wear locks or cornrows or their afro. And so just real quick, it says under the new guidelines released earlier this month by the New York City Commission on Human Rights, the targeting of people based on their hair or hairstyle at work, school, or in public places will now be considered racial discrimination. The legal recourse to individuals who have been harassed, threatened, punished, demoted, or fired because of their texture or style of their hair. The penalties are anywhere up to $250,000 on defendants that are found in violation of the guidelines, and there is no cap on damages. So I wanted to shout that out and really quickly share a story. When I used to work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car in Richmond, Virginia, I remember I used to have I would do the cornrows and they would take my hair out, and so it would be like that frizzy look. And so I remember one time I was told to tone my hair down. This was like 2006, 13 years ago. I was told to tone my hair down. And I was just flabbergasted. It caught me off guard. And so hit us up in the comments on SoundCloud. Tweet us at Black Nuance Pod. Hit us up on Instagram at Black Nuance Pod. Let us know if you've ever experienced any discrimination against your hair. We'd love to hear from you. And so quickly going into all of the things. So now I want to recap Valentine's Day and doing a personal self-care check-in, because the last time Snap was on this episode, we were it was the day before Valentine's Day, or the episode was being released the day before Valentine's Day. Snap was like, there's going to be some things happening in the next 6 months, rah, rah, rah. And I edited this and produced this from soup to nuts. And, this is 25 episodes in. Snap went from therapy, to, man, you know what? I might need some therapy, bop, bop, bop. And I'm just like, man, some of the stuff that Snap was saying was so problematic in my mind. And I'm just like, there's so much that you've dealt with. And so how was your Valentine's Day? Like, what ended up happening, Snap? You were talking cash shit about not doing nothing.
Nothing.
Gracious, Snap.
And I hate to say it, but I'm just not in the position.
No, but I think you've built up, this is my thing, and this is what it was for that episode. You've built up so many things in your mind, so many excuses in your mind that you feel like everything has to be tied to finances.
Right.
But...
And so instead of me going out, and this is all honesty, and not that, I know it sounds crazy, but I'd rather had used the money that I had, and I brought some things at Home Depot. And so that was my Valentine's. The crazy thing about that.
How was it? It was what? Valentine's for you? For her? I don't get it.
To me, Valentine's Day is just another day.
I agree.
And so my lady, and doing what she does, again, back to, I don't know if you want to say spoiling me, pampering me. I don't know what it is, but, her Valentine's Day was, she got me a whole set of something with my logo on it. She brought me new underwears with some glitter on it, and I was telling her I can't really wear these underwears with the glitter, because my license is suspended, and if I get pulled over and I got glitter drawers on, it's gonna be a problem. So, but and my lady takes care of me,
but this is where I take issue, Snap, and I'm not frying you. We're friends, and I fuck with you hard. You have no interest in making an effort.
I know, and no. I think about it. I think about it all the time.
Thinking and not doing actions are two different things, Snap.
I know, and that's why I said to you in our very last episode, within the next 6 months, I'll really know, and I'll really be serious with myself as to taking that extra step to saying, you know what, I think I really do need to sit down and just get some things out. But I'm concerned with myself because
what are you concerned about?
They're just I don't know. Maybe it's just things internally that I don't want to revisit, but to face it, I know I'm going to have to revisit it. I'm going to have to talk about it. I'm going to have to.
Yes, you will, Snap. And the other thing that you said that I wanted to address was you always kept saying, like, I'm only a good boyfriend up until this point. And I was just like, no, I disagree. Like, you're not, right? Because the fact that you immediately cut it off when you don't feel like doing something past a certain point doesn't make you necessarily a good partner, Snap. You're covering your tail at all aspects necessary.
Right.
And in my mind, to be a good partner, you are willing to compromise certain things. And Snap, I haven't heard compromise, even with you being with her for 10 years.
Right.
And in past relationships, even when you were talking about, like, I was a good boyfriend up until this point, I'm just thinking to myself, like, no, he wasn't. You weren't a good boyfriend. You took care of Snap, and that was the only person you worried about.
Right. And so I slowly but surely realized this. And it's not, I got to go through the 24 episodes as well. I literally listen to myself.
So where were you, from where you started when we started this podcast, and where are you now from episode 1 to episode 25?
I know I need to voice some things to someone. And so for a long time.
Do you not want to say therapy?
I didn't want to go to a professional.
I think you should. I think everyone that listens thinks you should as well.
I don't want to go to a friend.
You shouldn't.
But I want to be able to speak to someone who, again, there's no judgment to be placed.
Right. I mean, granted, like, you can't get rid of you caring what people think overnight. But
Right.
you talking to a professional, and maybe you connect with, when we do the next episode with the professional expert that I booked, maybe you and him connect offline, right? Like, that could be a conversation to at least get started, because Snap, man, like, I literally.
But at least I told her. I said, listen, it's the day before Valentine's.
What did you tell her?
I said, it's the day before Valentine's, and I literally have nothing going on. Like, I don't know what to do.
So you think you telling her is just
no, that's not
grace?
good at all. That is no.
So you gave yourself grace just because you told her, like, hey, I ain't doing shit for you?
No, and that's what I say. It's like.
But it's not the Snap. I'm not trying to ream you about Valentine's Day. The point that I'm trying to make, because I feel like, I mean, it took me less than a month to figure out all your trauma and things that you dealt with. Like, I was able to see that early. But even just listening to the past episodes and the episodes that we've done, even if it's not Valentine's Day, Snap, it's just you are stuck in your ways on not wanting to stretch beyond your comfort zone. But stretching beyond your comfort zone means, and you actually just admitted to it, you have to address things that you have not been willing to address, traumatically that happened in your life. And a lot of it, I'm very sure, stemmed from your childhood. But when you're in a relationship with anybody, people don't realize how that gets projected into the relationships with the people that you're with. And so I think what it ended up being like, okay, it started off as a sore in like the first few relationships. Then it started growing a little bit. So maybe it's like, oh, okay, Snap's like, I could still deal with this. I mean, it's a little bit more painful, but I'm used to it. And then it started growing and growing to the point where you're just like, all right, well, shit, I guess it's just going to be here, when you could easily at least start to chip away.
Right.
At it.
Mm-hmm. And she's told me that too. It's not that I do anything physical. I would never raise my hand. I don't even come out of pocket like verbally at her like that. But there's some mental shit that she say I fuck her up with. And
yeah, because Snap, you don't know how your trauma is manifesting in other ways that it's affecting and hurting other people.
Right.
And that and listen, and you don't even have to try be intentional about it. It's the fact that you haven't addressed it for X amount of years. You're talking about over 30 years, Snap, that you haven't addressed it. And so now in your mind, like, this is who you are. But when somebody else sees it, they're just like, wait, where did this come from? And if they don't know the backstory, they may think you're an asshole or you're this or you're that. But it's really on some like, no, this happened. So if you can connect the dots to like him being beat with this and that happening with that, and then this happening and that, and then now we're on to you. You got to look back. She has to go 4 dots back. And now it makes sense.
Right.
But if you're not willing to share those things, in her mind, she's not able to understand. And so, Steph, I really do. I hope you do get some assistance. But I definitely wanted to do a personal check-in, personal self-care check-in, because that Valentine's Day episode, even the before that one, but Valentine's Day was the one I kept playing back. Snap, you're really quiet over there.
Yeah, because, and just talking to you right now, the thought of me having to talk to someone about something, it sends me somewhere. You know what I mean? And so immediately you notice that. You
shut down.
And it's like, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? And I think
they do.
Yeah, I get it.
The how is not up to you. Remember that. The how is not up to you. So this is to be continued, but this is going to be a real intervention where I'm going to make, and hopefully he'll get the talking with the guests that we have on in the next episode. Snap, how can they find us?
Twitter and IG at Black Nuanced Pod. You could also find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify at Black and Nuanced Podcast. And of course, the email is popping off at blacknuancepod@gmail.com for questions, concerns, and some feedback. Yeah.
We always kept forgetting to say our stuff, though.
Oh, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Rob_OSnap and on Twitter at RobOSnap. And yourself, how can we find you?
Yes, I know. Twitter at Georgette, first name basis. And then Instagram, Georgette Star with 2 R's. And that's it. Snap. Woo-wee. That's all we got for you. We'll wait till you listen to the next episode, boy. Peace.